The game called Adam. We named new colors, bile and butterscotch, bugs, tank, and whizzle. We named the day and said, stay the same until we name again. Each name a ghost inside a moment. Every name a rename. Clouds, maybe. Clouds will. Named our childhood mayonnaise when we meant malaise. Renamed the blueberry resolute. Named 7 textures of meat, 18 qualities of wind, 14 of light, 4 underwater. We named fists and dicks. Craig's baby, Dirk's Dirk, Dale's Theodore, mine Sugar Bear. Summer came and unfolded the lawn chairs. We had a secret name for a secret tribe, then joined to keep the secret. We forgot the name and named the fog why. Our court had no scribe, only jesters and executioners. We named the known universe and then the unknown, wherein shall dwell all the names yet to be and be bestowed. We named ourselves Ordinary, our hair Dally. Holler our name, and the name came back behind us through the oak woods, covered our eyes, and whispered in our ear, guess who? A dove named Hollow did no better. Prayer was written in other letters. At night, we'd hear the mockingbird and ask, who does he name? Summer folded colors except the green and deep shade beside the creek, where we named the nettles underneath. And now, because it seems seasonally appropriate, I'd like to read a poem from Heaven of the Moment called Spider Weather. These are the warm, calm days before fall strips the trees and the rain turns the ground slick, the sky unpredictable. The days of yellow jackets and fruit flies that hover over the last wave of fallen apples and grapes. I'm spending time with the fat orange and brown spiders tying pitchfork handle to compost bin, house to camellia, camellia to spruce, spruce to the blooming red dahlia. Though almost brittle to touch, the webs flex with the breeze, suspended by strands taller than the kitchen windows. If one ruptures, if a bee tears free, the scent in the air says there is still time to mend, to thrive even as the flies are fewer with the seasons change, before the first storm shreds, then washes the weaving away. This poem is titled, Who Doesn't Miss Their Mother? In heavy summer air, blackberries glinted like compound eyes. For the pie she'd already made in mind, lattice crust buttery gold, she pointed us into the thorny green clouds below the power lines and damned the petulant, dared us to pout as vines pricked and pulled us deeper. What badger slept or dead body lay on the dry, cool floor at the heart of the tangle? Sticky, stained, and finally dizzy on the sweet we snuck, we picked until she said quit, as in, not until I say. Buckets full to the brim, she'd clap once, clasp her hands at apron bosom, sigh, and bless our little fingers. My next project. The raft was just large enough for my 8 cats, me, a piano, and the rough hut I fashioned from scrap wood and empty bleach jugs. So we all smelled scrubbed and slightly combustible as I built a floating island with dirt and ivy to be visible only to the faithful. I added a palm on the desert side, a chickle tree for the jungle side, and hung the moon and sun opposite. We slipped the anchor and boredom and gained a trailing rope, a thin but lengthy tail to mark where we'd been in our drift down one river, lazy as summer, into the confluence of the next and on. The cats missed the rats in the hedge back home, but the morning and evening fish rise was a suitable distraction. I deputized Sir Tittles to rule wisely when I became too drunk on date hooch. We lost to a determined osprey, Pixie, who loved to walk across the keys in her rendition of Heart and Soul. To me, the island remained fixed below the sun and moon and night stars, so the people who dallied on the bank would seem in motion and wave, and I would wonder, where are they going? I would see children in a tree at dusk and want them home before dark. Our island flourished, even in rain, a measure of sun. We befriended river pirates until even they couldn't reach us on the current of our own creation, farther out in the river ocean. I think I've spent a lot of my life driving, and I'm often late where I'm going, but with family or with my wife Kim or kids, big long rides. But this is, and so many of them just sort of became jumbled for me in this poem. It's called "Whenever Late We Were Hungry." Late somewhere, late at night, headed somewhere. So late we skip the tent and sleep on pine needles. Late to the bar, the barn, the cabin, and Eva's grim little house beside a gray creek. Hungry, we have no time to stop. Hungry, we have no money. No money beyond the 5 for gas in Calusa. We don't have time between Willits and McKinleyville and Cave Junction and Wonder. No time for tacos in Ukiah and Dos Cerveza, por favor. We're late. Our dad naps on the couch, the brown watch cap pulled low on his bald head. He'll wake and rise to unlock the front door, his face all puffy like a giant baby. We're late to pack, to leave. We're too late to buy snacks. We only brought the half box of stale Cheez-Its, which will kill us on the curves above the Eel River. With another hour and daylight, we could pull out past Hayuchi, wend down the path to the water, and end all this talk and tease. But we're late, and it's Christmas, or Thanksgiving, or another Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving over the Siskiyou Pass on bald tires, the road icy. We're late behind a Winnebago, a log truck, a load of tomatoes, a bus with a church choir, and the goddamn Trinity Alps have grown taller in our absence. There is a moon or not. There is radio for only a time. Rock becomes country, becomes Christian, and then static fills the sky like angry stars. Maybe a strand of classical from Torrance, the last inning of a Giants loss. We have beer, but the bean dip and chips are only a stink in the car. And now I'll drive because hungry keeps me awake, starved for a piece of bologna with a bright ribbon of mustard folded in a slice of white bread. Don't talk about food, we're late. The rolling hills along the Delta are a gentle rocking, and we are late and hungry. We're miles from Amboy or Blue Earth or air, and I drive the soft hills and a gravel road to pull over to camp beside a dark pond. We are so late, we'll just have to be hungry.
That's good.
This is the poem where I prove I will be the nuttiest of your readers tonight. This is called After the Heist. After the heist, we can drop by the gloomy little bakery, step into the soft aromas, and pick up a dozen macaroons, pink. Sit on a stone bench outside the Museum of Natural History, count our loot into the high 300s, and I can ask how you feel whenever you see the skeleton of a woolly mammoth, the bones tea-stained to a shiny, rich mahogany. Puzzled? Amused? Empty? A woolly mammoth with a big, bony dome crammed with all her smarts and kindness could be a first-rate friend once we've run her through the car wash a few times. Close your eyes, little sister, close your eyes. We'd never be cold at night. The whole family wound in the deep pile of her pelt, asleep in the oceanic swells of her husky breathing and dreaming austere tundra dreams. Gentle with any talk of extinction. No one takes the topic well. When we can't keep enough cereal in the house, can't make nearly enough popcorn balls for her snacks, we'll lead her by trunk to the breadth of the Zumwalt prairie, the vast grassland, into the quiet contemplation and sere winds. She'll browse and amble and fit in out there, eyed from the distance by wolves, just like at home in prehistory. This poem will only make lyric sense. Family history. We were a bit cinnabar, a bit abraded. We spoke in italics to tell ourselves from scrub jays and sunny grasses. Fingers always achy, faces forgettable but ochre. We all happened one after another, again, another down the corrugated culvert, unsure until we screamed, then sure but struck dumb. Below the guard oak that hid news deep in the rot, we knew neither glint nor gopher. Now the tree collects starlings like black socks. The house shivered, collapsed in long rains. Basement became cistern. We were quiet a moment beside the last two columns, then set the fire that burns all the way from now into the ground nest of yellow jacket. Our blood won't explain the wind or why we chant, click obsidian bones, click, click, click. The old quarter. Our house has become the old quarter of a dusty city. Wind, wind, thin light at the edge of buildings, dogs and nightly skirmishes. On the occasional feast day, a traveler comes through, drinks our wine, breaks the lamp, then thank God leaves. We're tired. Tomorrow may be a dusting of snow in time for the parade. We know what's coming because of parables. Ghost towns are left to sand, vines, or sky. We have only so many feast days and then famine will set in. After a few days, you become quiet, are not hungry anymore. Every pebble has a river back to the beginning. Suck a pebble, the pebble yields water. Blue pebble, blue water. Red pebble, red. Violet, violet. When I miss my father. My rank disgust for goals began in grammar school. The splotches of their paint splat shit everywhere, while Jonathan Livingston Seagull, the dandy, was everybody's darling. They'd flock the asphalt expanse of our playground, peck the brown apple core, and squeal. 15 miles from Bracken Slough, the Pacific 40 miles further, I'm going to read just two more poems. My diet was atrocious. For breakfast, a meaty cricket. The summer I walked through the Delta sawgrass, up into the mountains. Up into the foothills, around the mountain range and on. Slept a few nights in the village of Renaissance, discovered a ring on the finger of my newly betrothed and set out again. Seldom was I full. I'd come upon the country grocery and left the butcher in horror because of my hands, the way I think with my hands, the way my hands befuddle. Art I do with the hammer and anvil of my inner. My favorite was a ribbon of yellow mustard. My favorite was a ribbon of yellow mustard on white bread. My favorite was a ribbon of yellow mustard on a slice of white bread, folded halfwise with a slice of bologna tucked inside. My favorite was a box of mushy old-fashioned donuts and a quart of warm milk. My favorite was the gray paper wrapped around a salami and the salami. In turn, my stink became a favorite of the hover bees, whose steady hum let me know. They accompanied me into and through every field, every meadow, were with me as I sat in the last in surrender. Once again, thanks to everybody for being here. It is awfully good to be with you. And thank you, Joan and Erica and whoever puts on this wonderful River Road reading series. And thanks to Fran and Diane for agreeing to let me come and play. This poem is called I Can't Decide. Between the coldest day, a pure pearl of ice, or the first puff of spring, I can't decide. Whether I want the longest night with its stark quiet and brittle insinuations, or the morning that arrives like a morning that has loved me since I first breathed and didn't know that at noon, the rough gray wood of the shed would tick as the Blair sun ticks the temperature higher. I can't decide without setting aside a long dust, which might just tip back to daylight for all we know, a dusk so committed to inner qualities, it stalls and aunts, uncles, friends who had gone, step back through the half-light like they never left. And where is the cold beer, the potato salad? Meantime, night comes and a porch, a hush, as the sky decides for me, the first bats stitch between the shadow trees. Thank you, everybody.